Turned up at a property just on the outskirts of Urana called South Urana. This was actually our family farm. Looks like she's gone downhill. You would have seen on the drive in that they're still cropping the place but not running any stock. We come out here in 1985, took over from my grandparents, and the house was 80 or 90 years old then, so that was the main house. This is the old servants' quarters, and in here, in the first door, was the outdoor laundry, and this one here on the right was actually our outdoor loo. That was the only toilet that was in the joint, so that was always pretty interesting. This big old tree that you can see here, this is a Moreton Bay fig. Can't tell you how many times I've climbed up into that bloody thing, but that's also very old. That was over 100 years old when we moved out here. Pretty disappointing to see everything run down like this. And I'll try and get in here and have a bit of a look, but yeah, she's pretty ordinary. This is what we called the big room, for obvious reasons. That room there, it's actually my parents had their wedding reception in there, and this here was the kitchen. And every year when we were doing sharing, my grandmother had cooked meals for the whole crew, including all the shearers and the rousies and all of us. This was the lounge room. Big old fireplace. And then you come through here, and this was a room that I shared with my brother Jamie. Massive big ceilings. I think they were like 16-foot ceilings or something. My brother and I, we each had a double bed in here, and still plenty of room to move around. So on this wall here there was a massive big combustion oven, and that was always going and always had water on the boil, so you'd always get a cuppa. This here was like a storage area, had a big pantry in here, and another one on this side, and a door opening out to the, everything had doors opening out to the verandas. This was the bathroom. A bit hard to see in here, it's a bit dark. But yeah. And then this was the second bedroom. So my other three brothers all shared this room. As you can see underneath, it had the cellar. So you'd get into that from out under the veranda. Full of water now, but we used to use that for storage for, you know, preserved goods and stuff like that. There's big old logs that used as the foundations. Then this was the main bedroom. That was obviously Mum's and Dad's, with the cellar underneath, as you can see. Again, fireplace in here. And then I'm not going to walk across there because all the floorboards are missing, but off the main bedroom was this little room. We used it as a little study or work office. And then a second entrance here into that big room that I mentioned. Again, fireplaces everywhere. It was the only way you could keep this place warm. But again, those massive big ceilings. You know, it's just such a shame to see the place like this. Yeah. This was an old screen room. When it got too hot during summer, we had beds out here and we'd sleep out here to take advantage of the breezes coming. But by far my favourite feature of this entire house was this massive big veranda that went round the whole thing. We used to spend a lot of time riding our push bikes and skateboards and stuff off the end here, making jumps and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, this veranda went the whole way along the house. Again, I'm not going to walk too far up here because it's above the cellar. I'm just not quite sure how sturdy that is. But down the end there, that was our chook pen. We had a heap of chooks. And as I said, the old servants' quarters with the toilet and laundry in this end, but we used to use that for storage. You can see the meat safe there in the middle for when we used to butcher all our own meat. Alright, well we might just head down to the machinery sheds and the rest of the infrastructure on the property down here. And just down there, past the windmill that you can just see through there, that's the Urana Creek. So we used to draw water out of that predominantly for our pig shed. And just down in here, through those trees, a bit hard to see, but we had a veggie garden down there that was a full acre, and it was chockers full of fruit trees and veggies all year round. Alright, let's go and have a look down here. You can see how overgrown it all is, which is just such a shame. All this area here along here, up to where the crop is just there, that's where we used to keep all of our machinery predominantly. They could stay out in the open. And then down here, this was our pig shed. We used to have a fairly decent sized piggery. But there's a heap of infrastructure that's actually gone. There was another heap of shedding over in this area here, and then off to the side was our farrowing pen where we'd put our sows when they were having their babies. That's all gone. But this is the main pig shed itself. This is where we'd keep them all, fatten them up before we'd send them off to be sold. And she was just about buggered as well. Couldn't tell you how much time I spent down in here bloody feeding pigs and looking after them. Just off in the distance over there where that line of trees is, that's where the creek runs through. There's also a bit of infrastructure that was over here. We had an old cow shed where we used to milk a cow, stuff like that. It's gone as well. This was another machinery shed. We'd keep truck in there for harvest, and obviously the silos are still here. Couldn't tell you how much time I spent in those cleaning them out. That was before, you know, we knew much about protecting yourself with face masks and stuff like that. So that was always obviously full of hay. And we were running our stock. And this shed here with the little loading dock area there in the doorway, that was our chemical storage. Around here was more machinery storage. The back end of that shed there with that opening, that was our workshop. I'll try and get there, but it's a bit snaky to be honest. I just saw a snake a little earlier. It was only a little juvenile brown snake, but they're out and about. Our wool shed, where we'd shear our sheep every year. Obviously the pens, where we'd bring the sheep in, keep them out of the wet. If it was wet weather, we always shore in winter. Obviously to put our wool into bales, and we'd store it in here. That was the table for dressing the fleeces, and this is the shearers that come off the stand here through these gates, grab their next sheep, pull it back out and get ready to work. All these yards here, all these fencing, we upgraded all these, we put all these in, and it was just here we were working on it. That was I don't know when it was, 1990 I think it was, and I was welding and putting the fence together, and my grandfather was, we had a tractor just over here that was running a welder off the PTO, off a big generator set, and he was just sitting there watching me, and he got grabbed by the PTO, and it grabbed him and ended up catching him up. He went over the machine, ripped all of his clothes off, and unfortunately took his arm, and ended up in a fairly bad way. But he got himself up with the help of my brother and I, and managed to walk himself all the way over to the house so that we could get him in a car and get him into hospital. So I don't make them like that anymore. Again, such a shame to see it end up like this, but what do you do? Our old farm.